Hey guys, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a valve adjustment on your Mercedes-Benz W123. This is a 240D with the OM616 diesel engine. The process would be the same for the 5-cylinder model, except for the diagram of exhaust and intake valves, as there's more cylinders in every cylinder. So make sure you get that diagram if you're going to follow this. So I can get into it. To start, you're going to need a specialty tool, and I don't really like buying specialty tools, so I made my own. These came from Northern Tool. They're really thin, very easy to bend. I didn't even need to heat them up to bend them. I just need a vise and a nice long bar. I just use the handle to my jack, and you're just going to need to bend it about like that. And I bent the handle this way a little bit, that way it's just a little bit easier when I'm in there like this. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get through past these injectors, as they'll be in your way. I would recommend a valve cover gasket. Just replace that while you're in here, because you're going to have the valve cover off. So just go ahead and get a new gasket, and you're going to need some feeler gauges. Specifically, the two you are going to need is the 0.1 millimeter and the 0.3 millimeter, or the inches, and so you're going to need those two specifically. I have purchased one, so let's go ahead and get started. To start, you're going to just need to get the valve cover off. To get the valve cover off, you just need to take these throttle linkages off. Based on what I can see, you just take these two bolts off and these two bolts off, and the entire assembly should just rotate off. To free the valve cover, these 4 bolts come out, very simple. And then there's this assembly right here. What I did is I took the pin out of the actual throttle linkage that goes to the pedal, and I took the pin out right here, and I was able to shift everything to the right and pull it all out as one assembly. And the only linkage I had to remove is the one that goes to the injection pump itself. So that's going to remove the valve cover. So before I remove this, this hose that was in here, I just pulled it straight out and it came out. It's not very tight. There are only 4 bolts, one there, one right there, one right there, and one in that back corner. There's nuts. They're all 13 millimeters, same as these. All these are 13 millimeter. Only thing I can see as of right now is I'm going to make sure I need to work around this return line. The rest of them have already been long enough so they go around everything, and I need to pull that out right there because it's going to snag. Anyway, let me go ahead and pull this out. I'll tell you what I'll have to move. Probably that one return line, and just make sure I don't hit that one. I don't think I need to remove the air box. It might make it easier if you do, but so far I haven't needed to whatsoever. Just another thing extra to remove if you want to. So we're going to get this out of here. So I got the valve cover off. I went ahead and just replaced the valve cover gasket just to make sure I had the right one. I want to go ahead and start with doing that. It just really simply peels straight up and just pops right back into place. I would clean it on a normal engine, but I know how dirty diesels are, and they do just stay black, so I'm not even going to bother really cleaning it. I am going to clean up the outside of it because it did have a pretty good valve cover leak. But other than that, I'm just going to mostly just leave it dirty, because there's no real point. The part I used, I got it off of Rock Auto. Let's see if I can get that number to focus. I hope you can read that number. There's the company. I'll link it in the description. But other than that, so we have the valve cover off. We can see our assembly. I don't know much about diesels and their timing, but this timing feels a little loose to me, so eventually I'll probably have to do timing tensioners and guides and all that, but this might be normal. Again, I don't really know. Haven't really worked on diesels all too much. So yeah, let's go ahead and measure our valves now before we do it. Let's just see how out they are. Okay, so I had a small problem with mine where I could not get the engine to turn over by the camshaft bolt. So what I ended up having to do was turn it over by the crankshaft bolt. But mine crankshaft bolt was covered by this engine shroud, which it took 4 13 millimeter bolts to get the fan out, which was pretty simple to do. You had enough room, and then all I need to do is pull this up and out of the way a little bit, and then I used a 27 millimeter socket just to give it a little jump. And now, because you only want to turn these clockwise, you can't want to turn them both directions. Now I'm able to turn it. It's difficult, which it should be, but it turns. So now let me go ahead and measure the lashes where they're supposed to be. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the back of the engine, since I have the most working room back there. When we go to our diagram, we have exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust, exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust, because I have a 4-cylinder. Both ends, it's just to kind of mirrors each other. So middle 2 will be exhaust, out 2 will be exhaust, and then the 4 in between those will be intakes. So it's pretty straightforward. We know the exhaust should be the, as you can see, the 0.30 millimeter. That is what I have written down here. And we're going to try to do it, stick it in how it should. There should be just a little bit of resistance, and it should go in. That's not going in, it should go all the way through. So this is very improperly adjusted. It's tightened over time, as why we adjust them. To adjust them, you'll notice that there's a top dead center notch. That is not what we're going to be using. We are just using straight vertical, as we're just trying to get the smallest point on the valve seat. So that's all we're doing, is just making the valve's lobe be straight up and down. What I'm going to do, so I don't lose track, because I'm just going to go in this order. If you wanted to, you could just do all the exhaust and then all the intakes, but I feel like I'm going to lose track. I just took this just fell out. It's just plastic. Yeah, post will be fine. Easy to put back in. I also was able to finally get this to turn over by hand with the camshaft bolt. I am using a 7/8 wrench on it, and remember, always turn it clockwise, never counterclockwise, and just make sure it is vertical, and I will show you how to adjust it after I get this one done. Okay, so I've gotten the valve lash pretty good on this. There's resistance, but not a lot. Like I can pretty easily get this in there, but it's not like just slipping straight through with no resistance. There should be a little bit of resistance. As you see, it gets rid of the oil on the feeler gauge itself. So we're taking a look. If you want to, like mine, the resistance was way too high. Like there was not enough room for feeler gauge. So what you do is you break these two loose from each other. As you see, there's two. And this bottom one, this tiny one, it's going to rotate clockwise to compress this spring, and then you need to follow it up by the locking nut. Then you can measure for the feeler gauge. If you don't relock them into position, you won't get an accurate reading, so make sure you relock them. So I got that one done. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them, and I will let you know if I have any problems or any gimmicks I have to do to get to them. Okay, valve adjustment done. They were all relatively easy to get to. Ironically, this exhaust lobe right, exhaust? No, the intake lobe right there was, no, it's the exhaust, yeah. The exhaust lobe right here was it was already in specifications, but the rest of them were completely out, so they all had to be adjusted except for that one. Maybe you'll get lucky and have one like I did. I did end up just taking off the air cleaner. It just made it easier to slide the feeler gauges in here. That way I could just not have to reach my hand and do like a 90-degree bend. Just made it much easier. But now that we're done with this, it's nice and adjusted. Let's go ahead and put our valve cover on with our new gasket and put everything back together. Hopefully you won't have to take your fan out and do all of this like I did. Okay, I got everything back together. I gave my valve cover wipe down before I put it back in. New gaskets installed. I got everything nice and tight. Everything was really straightforward to put back together. Just make sure these vacuum hoses, if you have the automatic like I do, everything's vacuum driven, so you have a lot of vacuum hoses up here for like kickdown switches and things like that. Make sure they all go back on. I also, because I didn't have to take this fan off, I had to also loosen my alternator to put back the belt on. But other than that, this is pretty straightforward. Let's go and start it, make sure everything's good. Another thing I forgot to mention, I don't know if it will do anything, but if you have the automatic or manual either, just make sure you put it in neutral with the parking brake on. That way it turns over easier. I don't know if that actually matters, but I just did it anyway. So let's go ahead and start it. I also had a lot of blow-by, but I know these have a lot to start with, so let's see if we got rid of any of that. Alright, sounds okay. Got rid of some of it. It used to blow the cap completely off, so That's good. So hopefully this will have fixed some of the blow-by issues this vehicle had. Well, there we go. Valves are all adjusted. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you guys next time.